Hello, welcome to this very special edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting from the Blue Note here in New York City. Blessing the band stage in a very rare and intimate performance here in New York City is Brazilian icon, songwriter, as well as vocalist, Mr. Ivan Lins. Now, this gentleman, for well over 45 years, has written some beautiful classics ranging from Madalena to Love Dance, as well as You Moved Me to This to I'm Not Alone. And his music and his songs have been recorded by the likes of Barbra Streisand, Dionne Warwick, Take Six, the list goes on and on. Tonight I had a chance to break bread with him briefly about his career, him growing up in Rio, as well as talk about some of his major influences in music, as well as how he seeks inspiration to write, as well as talk about some of his very important collaborations with the likes of the great Quincy Jones, as well as Dave Grusin, as well as Lee Ritenour. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the legendary Ivan Lins, live here on the Pace Report, reporting from the Blue Note, here in New York.
Somos todos iguais nessa noite. A frieza de riso pintado, a certeza de sonho acabado. É o circo de novo. Nós vivemos debaixo do pano, entre espadas e rodas de fogo, entre luzes e a dança das cores. Onde estão os atores? Pede a banda pra tocar. Olha nós outra vez no primeiro. Pede a banda pra tocar um dobrado. Vamos dançar mais uma vez. Pede a banda pra tocar um dobrado. Olha nós outra vez no brincadeira. Pede a banda pra tocar um dobrado. Vamos dançar mais uma vez. More keyboard, please. Somos todos iguais nessa noite, pelo ensaio diário de um drama, pelo medo da chuva e da lama. É o circo de novo. Nós vivemos debaixo do pano, pelo truque mal feito dos magos, pelo chicote dos domadores e o ofar dos tambores. Pede a banda pra tocar um dobrado. Olha nós picadeiro. Pede a banda pra tocar um dobrado. Vamos dançar mais uma vez. Pede a banda pra tocar um dobrado. Olha nós outra vez no picadeiro. Pede a banda pra tocar um dobrado. Vamos dançar mais uma vez.
Mr. Lins, I just want to say it's an honor for me to just sit next to you. This is the first time you've been at the Blue Note here in New York in 8 years. How does it feel to be back in New York?
Oh, wonderful. I'm feeling great, 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 great. I love New York. I've been coming, to do different things, but not never in 8 years, not here at the Blue Note. So, but this is my kind of city. Yes, I love it. It's energy. It's a very full of energy city. I love that.
I want to start this interview off. I did a lot of research on you over the years, and last night I didn't realize this, that you came into music very, very late into your career, about 18 or 19 years old.
Yes, I started to learn piano by myself, by ear, when I was 18. Uh, but I always had the musicality, since I was, my mother was so impressed with, and she was always saying to everybody, "Oh, Ivan, it's too musical," music for me was something that used to paralyze me. My mother used to use music to stop me because I was a very speedy boy. I was a little terrible, and so she used music. So I started to put music. It went, oh, so calm. I used to be calm and listen, and then start to sing. Uh, uh, I was a listener. A very fanatic listener, and changing the music till when I was in the military school. I went to the band. Tried to play trumpet, but I couldn't. But I fell in love with the marching bands, and from the marching bands to the big bands was just very fast. And from the big bands to the jazz was very fast too. And so I was a fanatic. We had in my neighborhood we had you know, a group of jazz listeners. All of us, very fanatic. You know, every Friday, listening jazz. It was so amazing time. And suddenly I saw a Brazilian piano player with his trio in 1963, Luiz Essa and the Tamba Trio. And then I fell in love with, the way he was playing piano. I said, no, I want to play. I'm going to try to. And so I started to learn by myself in 1963. In 1965, 2 years later, I was playing with trios, in my neighborhood, and then in the city, doing, shows, small shows, but it was amazing, And then I never stopped.
Yvonne, you have had this immense career, and what's made you very different from your contemporaries is that when you wrote your music, you wrote for like jazz oriented. It was very, very jazz oriented and jazz based. And here in America, a lot of American artists recorded your songs. And then, as of maybe the last 10 years, the pop world has gotten a new look and whiff at you now. How do you feel about that now?
Well, uh, in Brazil, I'm a pop artist. Despite of using, jazz chords, my music is sophisticated. But, when I start to be known in Brazil as a songwriter was in 1970, the end of the 60s and the beginning of the 70s. And then, at that time, music, good music, was in the radio stations, a lot. So I became very famous in my country, and with the same generation of Milton Nascimento, Edu Lobo, and João Bosco, the Javan, and a lot of and very good songwriters, composers, and that's why I became so famous, and still I am, and people at that time they learned all the songs that used to be played on the TV shows and soap operas too, and so the common people start to listen to my songs through the soap operas. That was an amazing vehicle to to spread my music for the people, more for the great population. And then I became very famous. My music, is known, for with different generations. And but outside of Brazil, I'm I used to play in jazz
Right.
venues and jazz festivals. You know, I'm considered a jazz oriented. My music is jazz oriented. So, and it's interesting for me because it's weird sometimes. You know, that now I'm accustomed because I what I really like is to do music. You know, the way I love to do. You know, with my so that's the shows I used to do, and like this duo that I'm doing with Leonardo Moeda. And I have fun, you know. Music is to have fun, you know. And I love this uh, improv.
Improvisation.
No, improvisation, yes, but it's unpredictable. You know, I love, you know, to be because you never know what's going to happen in the next bars. And that is amazing because each show is it's different show from the other. There's no routine at all, so it's good, you know. And then that's the way I love to do music. Um, and I'm still in writing songs, you know. I really write. I used to write songs, you know, almost every day. And now I don't have, you know, what to do with the songs because and I put in a lock, you know, you know, waiting for you know better times for good music, you know. So and maybe if the internet improves and so maybe it's going to be the space where I can project my music, you know, the songs I'm writing. Yeah, that's it.
Não corra o risco de ficar alegre, pra nunca chorar. A gente não era assim, não era assim. Abri alas pra minha folia, já está chegando a hora. Abri alas pra minha bandeira, vocês! Já está chegando a hora. Abri alas pra minha folia, já está chegando a hora. Abri alas pra minha bandeira, já está chegando a hora. Encosta essa porta que a nossa conversa não pode vazar. A vida não era assim, não era assim. Bandeira arriada, folia guardada pra não se usar. A festa não era assim, não era assim. Abri alas pra minha folia, já está
who were some of your musical influences growing up in Rio? Because what I want the American viewers to understand about your music from Brazil is that there's different styles of Brazilian music. There's samba, there's bossa nova, there's MPV. There's a myriad of different music styles. They're all the same, but they're different. But some of that kind of crept into some of your writing and your vocal style too.
Well, that's started when I started to write music from the 60s and the 70s, because after the bossa nova appeared Edu Lobo and Milton Nascimento, Gilberto Gil. They were not bossa nova songwriters. Because they came from different parts of the country. Milton from Minas Gerais, Edu Lobo from the Northeast, like Caetano and Gilberto Gil. So different kind of music and rhythms, and the African influence is very strong. So, and all these information I was getting, for me. So I'm from a generation that used to write different styles. We don't care, Brazil is so rich, and I always looking for, source for my creation, and I love to create. That's what I like the most to do. It's to create music, to create different stuff. I'm always looking for something that I've never done before, or that kind of sound that I can. This is different from me. Sometimes it's not different for the other because it's too much music. But this is important for me. And Brazil is so huge, and I'm always, researching, different rhythms, especially from African influence, because it's in the whole country, and the rhythm is, it's unbelievable. The roots, Brazilian roots, now is there. I think that's it's the country that has so many different, kind of rhythms, and it's the Brazilian folklore. It's incredible, rich. It's rich. It's too.
Your music is very. I would say you have a lot of percussion.
Yes.
And there's a lot of guitar, and the vocal part. It adds the beauty and the mysteriousness of where your music is going.
Yes, the melody, because I'm a melodist. I love to, I'm concentrating myself on the melody. I think the melody is the most important thing in the music, more than the chords, because when you sing a song, it's in the shower. You just sing the melody. You have, the chords here, but the melody is so important because it's the first information you receive from the music. And it's what you learn, really, and you kept for yourself, and you can repeat everywhere. It's the melody. So I'm a melodist, and then I can, when I sing, I'm totally involved with the melody can reach, and I write songs for the audience. I don't write songs for me, It's for me too, but I need to share my music with everybody, with a lot of people. I can't. I hate to be alone. I need I need to share. I need to share everything I used to do. If I like, I'm gonna share. When I finish a song, sometimes I call my friends. Hey, I finished. I said, no, come on, I have to show. And now it's easy because I send a demo through internet. With MP3s, and they it's so good, man. It's me.
You know, a lot of your music. I was telling a music fan tonight after the performance. I said, Mr. Lenz is probably responsible for helping a lot of children be brought into this world. You are very romantic and you speak to the lovers out there. The art of that right now seems to be kind of gone now. And I want to ask you about emotions and feeling and when you're writing songs, because when you write a song, there's songs that you have written that are just very, very personal, and they live on because people are interpreting your songs now to a whole new generation.
Well, I'm an activist in Brazil, and I have an institute, that is oriented to inclusion, socially inclusion of poor people, especially children, to learn music and study music, because I'm very I say committed with the beauty, and I need to put in my music, beauty, because I know if the music is beautiful, the music can do miracles. Music can save, can heal, can put people together, then it can preserve the peace or create peace in some. I used to say in my shows, especially when I work with orchestras, I used to say, they say, please support an orchestra, because music, if there's three things that if finish in the planet is gone. It's water, air, and music. If you take off the music, gone. The life is going to be, it's going to finish. So, and then I said, no, support a musician. So if music, who does the music? Musicians. So musicians for me are guard angels. They are angels. People has to protect them, to support them, because they're do one of the most beautiful things the planet can have, because music is in the air. Music moves you. Music it does really miracles, save, heals, and it's incredible. Orchestras is like forests, If you finish the forest, the air, planet gone. If you finish the orchestras, the music is gone. So support, we have to support everybody. Have to think in music, as a weapon to preserve the peace or create the peace, and make the communities happier.
Yeah. Tudo que eu fiz foi ouvir o que meu peito diz. feliz, confiando, acreditando que na vida todo mundo pode ser feliz. É preciso crer no coração, porque senão não tem razão de se viver. Eu quero ver nascer um tempo bom. Eu perdi o coração da gente em qual país. Não deu certo uma mudança. Você muda de esperança. O que a gente merece ser feliz. O que a gente merece ser feliz. O que a gente merece ser feliz. O que a gente merece ser feliz.
Jason Miles did a very, very important project that put you in a very different stratosphere amongst people who never understood or never really knew about Yvonne Lynn's music. And looking back at that project now, in fact, we were all hanging out last night. What is your take on it now? Because again, the pop world, that project kind of put people, oh, this is very unique. I mean, and he had a very unique platform of musicians that sang and interpreted your music. How do you feel about that now?
It was amazing. What Jason Miles did was incredible, and he did it because Miles Davis was supposed to do an album with my songs, but he died. And at that time, Jason was working, in programming, the synthesizers of the Miles band, or for the recordings, Miles recordings. And so he got really so through Miles Davis, he got in contact with my music, and he fell in love and when Miles died, they say, oh man, I have to do something for Yvonne, because Yvonne, and he really did. He was amazing. And after Quincy, that was in the 80s, he really spread out my music in the United States and the world, through his productions and artists, and recommending my songs for different singers and musicians. Jason was very important to spread my music too, and especially in that project, and I'm very grateful to him, and that's I love Jason. Jason was he's a really very good producer.
He is, and the thing I love about that record, and I'm going to tell you the reason why that record is going to hold 50 years from now. You had every dynamic of popular music at the time, whether it was the jazz of Freddie Cole, who I love.
Yes,
loved
me
it.
too. I was a great fan of his brother, Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra, on the 60s. Oh, I used to listen to them. So much. They were my favorite American singers, and the big bands behind them was, especially Billy May, Nelson Riddle, and so great arrangers.
See, and it's funny because you got Freddie Cole, and then on the other end you have Sting. Sting was the one that got the Grammy, but I think, like you said, and go back to what you said, Quincy Jones, because my first foray into Yvonne Lynn's was George Benson's "Give Me the Night" record.
Yes.
And then it kind of exploded from there. I mean, Diane Shore does it. I mean, Take Six, and then there's Sarah Vaughan, and then there's Barbara Streisand, and then it. You did you know that your music was going to have the kind of impact that it's having now when you wrote those songs 30, 40 years ago?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know. For me, it was a huge surprise. When Quincy called me, Paulinho da Costa introduced my music to Quincy on 1979. And then on December of 1979, Quincy called me, in my house, and I thought that it was, no, somebody's kidding. It's not him on the phone. Quincy calling me. No, this is somebody is. It's not. It's a tricky or something. But it was him, and he was like, "Che cabeza, yes, man, I love your music. Paulinho is here. He brought your albums, and I'm crazy. And I'm working with George Benson. And there's two songs, and then it's for me. I say, wow. Even now, I feel. I can't believe, I can't feel like the important people used to place me. I'm, I always were a simple person. I can't, and sometimes people got angry with me. Ivan, you say you are great, you are the best, or something. I said, I still can't. I cannot realize that. I still.
And I'll give you another record that put you, and this was another Dave Grusin. Yeah, I mean I mean I vividly remember that record because the time I was in Detroit and there was a radio station, WJZZ, and they used to play 3 of those songs. If it was not, I can't think of the songs right now, but that was another part of, I guess, how your music kind of crept into the jazz world, because anytime Dave Grusin puts you on a platform like that, it's like he's like Quincy Jones too. I mean, your music was seen and heard from a whole nother stratosphere.
Oh yes, but who introduced my music to Dave Grusin was Quincy. Quincy called, he called Dave Grusin and saying, Dave, I have here, incredible songwriter. I'm gonna send you, the cassettes. At that time, they used to send, cassettes, and then and they showed to Lee, and Lee, wow, now let's do a project with this guy. He has to do a project with this guy. And then they did Harlequin, and then there's Harlequin, the song that is the title of the album, has Before It's Too Late, is the samba, and Beyond the Storms.
Yes.
Beyond the Storm, Depois dos Temporais. They did 3 songs, and then GVC, sponsored a jazz tour in the United States. It was, and I was one of the Diana Shore, me, Dave Valentin, and Lee Dave Grusin band. It was amazing. We did almost 20 shows around the United States. So that's when I started to become known as a performer, because it was amazing. They really were important in my life too.
seja de aço, mesmo que seja de pedra, fica tão cicatrizado que ninguém diz que é colado. Foi assim que fez em mim, foi assim que fez em nós, esse amor iluminado fica tão cicatrizado que ninguém diz que é colado. Foi assim que fez em mim, foi assim que fez em nós, esse amor iluminado, esse amor iluminado.
Yvonne, tell me about you lived in California for a year.
Yes.
You decided you had to go back to Rio, and I can understand that because that's your life was there. Your kids, your wife. I mean, your life was there. Can you tell me what it was like musically coming to America and adapting to the norms of America, and what did it do to you musically when you went back to Rio?
Well, I have I used to, when I was living in Los Angeles, you know, because Los Angeles is totally different from Rio. You know, I always, lived I was raised in a neighborhood with everything around, so you can do everything walking, and you see, well, you have corners and everything. And in Los Angeles, you have to be inside of a car. It's everything is so far. Man, I used to spend 3-4 hours a day inside of a car. That was terrible. So I avoid to you know to to get out of my house. I used to stay at the house. I made a small studio, and I start to I wrote a lot of songs, and I wrote a lot of songs missing my hometown, Rio de Janeiro, and that's why I left. Because I couldn't get accustomed with that kind of living. If I, instead of Los Angeles, if I had come to New York, maybe I was here, still here. It is because you can walk in and you have corners. You have the pharmacy here. You have the market over there. You can everything is just around you. It's amazing. That's why I like the East Coast. But because Quincy was on the West Coast, so I moved to the West Coast because he was, to be close to him and close with the industry, that because David Grusin, Lee Ritenour, everybody was there. So, but I should come to here. But now,
I see you in New York. I see you doing some big things here.
oh, I hope so. That's what I want. Dramatically, I would like to start over, to do something in the United States, especially here. I love the East Coast. It's people is different, because people is closer, and if you want to be outside of, you have the upstate New York, we have New Jersey, you have so amazing small towns, you know, it's very calm, you know, it's okay.
To get away from the hustle
To get
and bustle.
away, yeah, to get away. So, and it's easy to go, it's easy to come back. You know, well, sometimes you have the traffic, you know, it's terrible, but, you know, it's now the traffic is terrible everywhere, in Rio, everywhere. So, but, you know, I want to come back, you know, to be around here. You know, this is, the city smells.
Começar de novo e contar comigo vai valer a pena ter amanhecido, ter me rebelado, ter me debatido, ter me machucado, ter sobrevivido, ter virado a mesa, ter me conhecido, ter virado o barco, ter me socorrido, começar de novo e contar comigo vai valer a pena ter amanhecido sem as tuas garras, sempre tão seguras, sem o teu fantasma, sem tua moldura.
You had the opportunity to go to Cuba and record with the legendary Chucho Valdez. And you brought something up earlier in our interview about Brazilian and how it's connected to African and how the musical roots, and there are different key elements of Brazilian music that's in the Cuban culture also. And I want to ask you what that was like, because Chucho, he plays from a very percussive.
Yes.
I mean, he's very percussive. In fact, a lot of the Cuban piano players, that's in their psyche when they're playing. And you're about the melody, and I'm wondering how that worked out, because the recording is awesome.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That recording was, you know, so amazing. We did an amazing concert, but it was in a small place, because they were, you know, worried. They say, okay, first time Ivan here, you know, I don't know if the people knows him. So that was really incredible. It happened something, because when I finished the show, and then I went to the hotel, and the next day I was going to have a holiday, you know, in the one of that beach, just, you know, with my wife and my family that they came to. And then I received a phone call from Havana, and telling me, saying, Ivan, You have no idea what's happening here because the students, they couldn't see you at the venue you did the concert with a.k.a. and Chucho. So they, they want you back and do a concert, a solo concert just with you and piano and for them. And so we're reserving the National Theatre of Havana.
Wow.
3,000 seats, packed, man, packed. Sold out, and people crazy everywhere. And I did one of my most beautiful concerts of my life. I didn't know that I was, so known there.
Wow.
Well, it was incredible. Wow, this is something important because the Brazilian soap operas used to, be broadcasted in Cuba. And so my songs, were very known in Cuba. I didn't know that. And then at that time on the TV they just have one como é que é programa de notícias, the news, and on TV there's a national, it's just one, and and so it's 100% of audience because it's the only one they have. And then they interviewed me, and then they saying, "This is Ivan, the songwriter of the songs of the soap operas," and they start to show a lot of pieces of the soap operas with my songs. Well, the next day I couldn't walk in the street.
Wow. Wow.
Wow, it was really, people was so funny because all the doors start to open. Man, it was incredible, and the Cuban people is very, very close to especially from Bahia. The people from Bahia, they are very, very close. It's incredible, that African accent. It's and the religion. It's very strong in Bahia, especially in Bahia, and in Cuba, and then there's so many similarities. It's between, and the music. It's the Cuban music is so incredible too. This the most beautiful connection between Brazil and Cuba. We never, be involved with politics. This is, well, because they are so beautiful, people. They're very kind and very sweet and very musical. And they're funny too. It's really funny guys. A lot of jokes. I was, laughing. I spent, 1 week in Havana and Cuba, and I laughed a lot. It was really my first time there was amazing. And so I started to, go back, and I did a lot of concerts with Chucho, and especially with Chucho. He used to invite me to all the festivals, and we played together. We did a concert, 2 acoustic pianos. Man, it was incredible.
His energy is, at his age, I mean, does he ever sleep? Because, I mean, you see him play, he's really like the Oscar Peterson of Cuba.
Yes. He's incredible pianist. And his technique, and the velocity, and his hand. Yeah. He has a huge hand. It's the octaves he does with one hand is scary. So when he start to, oh man, it's incredible. He's in a great arranger too, and a really beautiful person. He's so sweet, so generous. Really, one of my, it was a great time I always had in Cuba, especially when with Chucho, and it's I miss him a lot because now he's traveling so much, it's difficult to find him in Cuba now.
That'll do it again for this very special edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting from the Blue Note here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank the incomparable Yvonne Lenz for his time. Also, I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at the Blue Note for their warm hospitality. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column, as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.
Somos todos iguais nessa noite, na frieza de riso ligado, na certeza de sonho acabado. É o circo de novo. Nós vivemos debaixo do pano, entre espadas e rodas de fogo, entre luzes e a dança das cores. Onde estão os atores? Pede a banda.